Hello, my name is Clara Maveglia and I founded the Cultural Entrepreneurship Institute in Berlin. Today we are in Venice and my guest is Antonia Sautter. She created the Ballo del Doge and many other wonderful things we will talk about. Welcome, Mrs. Sautter. Buonasera, signora Sautter, che piacere essere qui nel suo
Welcome, Mrs. Sautter, and good evening. What a pleasure to be here in your studio, in this wonderful place in Venice. Would you like to introduce yourself? It is always difficult to talk about yourself. I like a definition that some customers have given when talking about me. They say I am a creator of dreams, and this is what I would like to be. I like to create dreams for myself and for the others. Well, to start with, you are the person who organizes the Ballo del Doge, the Ball of the Doge, the most exclusive event in the world. And in this ball, you bring the history, the tradition, the Venetian masks, and everything is made to measure and updated to present time. What would you like to tell us about this? Sure. The Ballo del Doge is one of the most exclusive events in the world, maybe the most exclusive event in the world. And it is exclusive because it is so different from any other event you may think of. It is an experience. It is an emotion. The splendor of ancient Venice can be experienced. You can experience tradition, which is revisited and represented from a modern viewpoint. Well, I believe that there is absolutely nothing more emotional than entering a palace, which is as beautiful as a museum, which is opened only on few occasions throughout the year, and feel at home in this palace, living outside your daily life to live a dream that you can live with the complexity of a costume. It is unbelievable how a costume can actually bring you into a different age. All my guests, when wearing the costumes, become the true protagonists of this event. And I think that myself as well, every year, thinking about the character I want to be. Tailor-making all the costumes for myself, for all my artists, for all my guests, for this new edition of our dream, well, I feel a fabulous emotion, and this is what I want my guests to experience. Emotion, fantasy, history. And I've heard that you've been inspired by the stories that your mum used to tell you when you were a child. So all your imagination has been inspired by this world of dream, a world that children perceive as a reality because they do not exactly separate reality from dreams. Is that right? It is absolutely right. Ever since I was a child, well, my mum had understood that a game and a play, and for children, games and plays are something very serious. Well, she understood that through play I could learn geography and history. So I used to play a lot. I started in September to think about carnival, and I became my mom's sorcerer's apprentice. And we made beautiful costumes for myself, and I felt the protagonist of the fairy tale my mum was telling me about. And I organized also the costumes for my friends. It was a fairy tale, but it was history as well. So I used to study about Marie Antoinette in the books, and all of a sudden Marie Antoinette was there, and I had her costume, and I became Marie Antoinette. And to be Marie Antoinette, I had to get to know her. I had to study her story, of course, and also about the court in France, and the same was true for Mata Hari and many other fabulous characters who populated my fantasy, my imagination. It was really beautiful, and I never wanted to leave this dream behind. This dream has become my work. My mum used to say, choose the job you like, and you're never going to work, not even one single day in your life. And I'm very lucky because I do not work, I have fun. Well, before talking about the details of your work, I would like to know which is the role of Venice in all this. I believe Venice is a wonderful stage. You're absolutely right. Venice is my inspiration. With its history, its landscapes, its architecture, Venice is a glamorous stage, and every corner, every stone has a story to tell. You just have to listen to it. This city has a lot to tell, and it has always been telling stories. And it is not by chance that I'm working here in Venice. Maybe in a different city, I would not have done what I'm doing here today, which is what I've been doing for all my life, and that I will do forever, I hope. So we can very well imagine that growing up in Venice is like a continuous party. Absolutely. Venice is a huge theater. It is a glamorous stage. Everything seems to be possible in Venice. And we still have very strong human relationships. The noises you hear are not the noises of cars or car horns. We do not have mechanical noises. We have voices, as well as the noise of the waves. The landscapes are extraordinary, and there are places where you can gather your thoughts, where you can wander in the hidden rooms of your imagination. Venice really supports creativity. Well, the splendor of Venice coincides with the Baroque period. Red velvet, gold, the wonderful 2- and 3-mullioned windows, all those tortuous curls decorating these amazing palaces that look like fairy tale palaces turned into reality. Is this your inspiration as well? Of course. I love to refer to all this as the magnificent exaggeration. A harmonious exaggeration, because as a matter of fact, it is easy to add, to decorate with redundancy. But what you actually need is harmony and know-how. And wisdom. Think about embroiderers in the past. They used to make amazing works of art that were always harmonious. They had a reason to be. The Baroque period has for sure influenced what I do. I actually make costumes for every possible age, and I'm fascinated by every possible age. For sure, the Renaissance is one of the most interesting periods for Venice. Venice was the queen of the seas, and it was also the capital of fashion because all the most precious textiles were brought to Venice. There were important manufacturing companies, and the textiles then left Venice to reach the European courts. And all this started in the 14th century. Sea explorers had actually brought a lot of wealth, and the Venetians had been able to use it, to make the best use of this knowledge coming from exploration. They were able to open up to the world with the intelligence to grab the positive elements out of all this. I mean, trade also requires some artistical skills and creativity. The Doge was the governor of the city of Venice when Venice was a republic. And the Doge himself organized big parties and celebrations. That is right. There were fabulous celebrations. For instance, the marriage at the sea ceremony and many other significant moments during the year. These were solemn moments. And they used these wonderful brocades, silks and textiles to show the wealth of the city. Of course they did. Well, fashion and decoration as such, but fashion in particular, has always been the expression of an age. So, for sure, through garments, clothes, decorations, accessories, architectural decorations as well, people express their personality. That age expressed its personality and its wealth as well. Sure, wealth and prosperity. Well, would you like to wear one of your creations, this wonderful mask? And would you like to tell us why masks are so important? Masks are important because behind the mask, people can sometimes really be themselves. Very often, we're scared. We're scared, and the mask really helps you overcome your shyness. That's why the carnival is so important. By wearing a costume, by interpreting a role, by entering into a character, and by wearing a mask, you can really feel yourself without being afraid of anything. As a matter of fact, carnival in the past also had a social meaning. Everybody is equal behind a mask, and carnival leveled off all the differences in wealth. The poor and the rich, they were all equal behind a mask. That's beautiful. That's a way to experience also a specific side of your personality. That's right, we have different facets in our personality and we wear different masks throughout the day depending on what people expect of us. We've seen the mask, but you're also wearing one of your beautiful creations, a wonderful scarf with dragonflies. Yes, well, talking about tradition and revisiting tradition, this scarf is made of a silk velvet that has been hand-printed. This is a technique that Fortuny used to use, and he had been inspired by even more ancient Oriental technique. So, I have made this more modern, I have revamped this technique, but it is a printing technique that I use not only to make scarves, but many other accessories, such as cushions, handbags, and for my parties as well, to make these very precious invitations. There you go, that's the invitation for the latest Doge's ball. Right, the theme was Venice then, because I know that every year you choose a different theme. Exactly, every year we have a different theme. Every year I tell a different fairy tales to my guests, many of whom have also become my friends. And I tell them a dream, and we share this dream. The next edition will be a very special one. It will celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Ballo del Doge, and it will also be my birthday as well. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, because of my feminine mannerism, but I'm very happy to celebrate my birthday and the 25th birthday of the Ballo del Doge. The title will be Rebirth, because every year, by telling a new fairy tale, by immersing myself and my guests in a dream, I feel I am born again. It is pure joy for me, and I really hope it is the same for my guests as well. And I am rewarded of all my efforts, all my commitment, because as you can very well imagine, there is a lot of work, sleepless nights, with a lot of joy, with a lot of adrenaline, but with a lot of commitment as well. But what pays me back of all this is the smile I see on my guests' faces. Their smile and their dreaming eyes are my reward. At one point in the evening, I stop checking the entertainment, I stopping monitoring the dinner courses, but I stop and look at my guests' faces. That's the only thing I'm interested in, because that's the only thing that tells me whether I have been successful in my mission, making them dream. Well, this is a wonderful example of cultural entrepreneurship. That type of entrepreneurship that does not aim at maximizing profits, of course you must have your own profit, but you also want to enhance culture, tradition, and you want to preserve all this for future generations as well. This is why your ball is also pretty expensive, but you have to compensate for this kind of work. It is right, it is a costly experience, but this is never enough. It is true, tickets are expensive, but the profit I make from the ball is immediately reinvested. I mean, think about creating 120 costumes for our artistic cast only. And of course, I'm talking about dazzling costumes. Every year, we propose a new and different fairy tale. We organize a different stage set. I mean, this implies the mise en place, the flower compositions, the tablecloths. Every year, you are born again. And everything is conceived and built to measure. I mean, shoes, clothes, everything. Absolutely. Well, people spend a lot of money for football, but for culture, people are a little bit more cautious. Well, that's right, because it is more difficult to understand what it all involves. I mean, you see a football match, you can be passionate, but it is a different passion. This is a more subtle passion. It is a different passion. There is a whole world working to do all this. Not only myself, of course, my team consists of 25 people working for the whole year. And as we get closer to the Ballo del Doge, there are more than 500 people working full-time. And on top of that, the ball truly is a dream. I mean, I get access to the palace at 8 o'clock in the morning on the day of the ball. Everything is brought to the palace. I'm talking about the stage set and all what you need. The door of the palace is this size, 1.5 meters wide. The whole ball goes through that door, and in a few hours we must prepare everything, because at 8:30 p.m. the first guest will come. So it is a huge effort. This requires an amazing organization to enact a dream that will last till dawn, because then we will have to take everything apart and give back the palace. So you actually rent the palace for 24 hours? Yes, more or less for 24 hours. Our organization is really amazing. In Italy, we say it is a Swiss organization. I understand that. Well, the emotion the preparation, the culture. I mean, revisiting the past. This is a luxury that has a cost, a luxury with this special stage set and everything. And now I understand why this kind of event is so exclusive. Yes, it is the most exclusive event in the world, and the luxury is given by its uniqueness. It is something you can only experience. You cannot own it. You can only feel the emotion, and that's the deep meaning of the term luxury, and it will be in your memory forever. But to create all this, you need a very strong organization. Sure, I can see you have a sketch there, and here we have a small selection of your costumes in the background. But I mean, this is a sketch. So a costume is conceived, drawn on paper, and then made. Yes, the costume is a project. It is born in my mind first, and then I have to make it visible. And I have to understand it, because, you know, sometimes you have some thoughts and then they disappear. So what you have to do is to put them on paper so that they don't disappear. So the project starts when I make my sketch. Then, of course, I have to find the textiles, the decorations, and then day after day, this adventure will develop and will culminate in the final creation. It is really moving, it is fascinating. I mean, every one of my costumes has a story. This is an allegory of Venice, for instance. Venice as a mother, a matron, a feminine Neptune, and of course the spouse of the sea, with the canals, with the colors of Venice at dawn, a courtesan. You can see the whirlwind of the lagoon, the glittering sun on the sea at sunset, when everything turns shiny, glittering, and out of this world. It is beautiful. I love those moments when the sun shines on Venice. There's a theatrical one. It represents a Queen of the Night from the Magic Flute. I love Mozart. I love all the characters of Mozart's fairy tales. And I love also the characters in his operas. Then, of course, we also had two wonderful creatures, two birds, Papageno and Papagena. I haven't got the sketches of these costumes yet, but this is a historical costume. This is Caterina Cornaro, our Venetian queen. It is a costume of the 16th century with the opulence of the city, living a moment of splendor. She married the king of Cyprus, so she became Queen of Cyprus, and she gave up her love for the raison d'etre. A wonderful woman. I love queens. I've always been passionate about queens. And many of the costumes I make are actually dedicated to queens. The queens in history and the queens in our imagination as well, like the Queen of the Night, or the Magic Flute, or Titania, the Shakespearean fairy queen, but all queens in general. I love them. This is another Venice, the one I have decided to enact this year for my ball. It is a golden queen, a queen to admire, a queen who is full of history and splendor. This is splendid, gorgeous, sumptuous. The other queen was a dreamy queen pertaining to the world of dreams. This is a sumptuous, a lavish queen. I have a question. I mean, when one buys the ticket for the ball, do you decide the costume for each person, or I leave a lot of freedom? Very often my guests come with a specific idea. One wants to be Casanova, why not? Or another one would like to be Queen Elizabeth I. It is important to follow the indications, because most likely that's the character that they are going to be in the best possible way. They are the protagonists, they can choose. And if they are uncertain, then of course I can suggest, I can advise them. And I have so many possibilities. We have 1,500 different costumes. They only need to choose. I've heard that also David Bowie has taken part in one of your balls. Yes, a long time ago. Do you remember what he was wearing? Well, he had a livery, a wonderful livery. But that was a long, long time ago. Could you tell us how it all started? I mean, you were passionate about this, but when did you make the quality jump from local to global, to a global event? As a matter of fact, the Ballo del Doge immediately started as a grand event. I was very lucky because one day, in my tiny little shop, I met Terry Jones and a BBC director. They had come to Venice to make an advert for British Airways. I was there surrounded by velvets, brocades, masks, and the accessories that I made myself. And they liked my shop because it was the typical Venetian creative shop. Authentic craftsmanship. And of course, I listened to them, and they also mentioned a cultural TV program about the Fourth Crusade. A crusade that had been funded by the blind Doge, Ricordandoli, and they wanted to represent the Fourth Crusade through the metaphor of a huge party where all characters had to meet in one fabulous palace. So they asked me, do you know who could help us in Venice to carry out such an ambitious project? I had never done anything for TV. The only thing I could do was to make costumes. But I had never made any stage set or anything like that. But, and this was 25 years ago, this project was so incredible. I was so thrilled. I couldn't sleep the whole night, and on the following day I plucked up courage and asked them to please have me on board. I promised I would have done anything to make their project perfect. So this is how my thoughtless idea met with their desire, and I got all my friends involved with this. I had no idea what to do, but in the end I made it. I mean, I loved Carnival, I already had many costumes, all my friends became extras. I transformed gondolas with the help of some young gondoliers. I transformed them in huge boats with crusaders wearing costumes with a cross in the front. You can still see it on YouTube if you like. It is episode number 19 and it is called Crusades. Whenever I look at this, I still feel moved and emotional. So you should never underevaluate yourself. When you desire something, the mere fact that you want it means that you have almost made it. I mean, this is how it happened to me. I really believed in this, and I knew that that would have been a turn in my life. And that's how it all started. And it was wonderful. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I was so thoughtless. This is true passion. Is this what you recommend to young people who want to become entrepreneurs? Should they follow their own passion? Absolutely. They should follow their passion. So you felt that that was the opportunity in your life? Yes, because I knew that the joy generated by the mere thought of doing this was something I couldn't give up. So I tried to grab this opportunity, and that's what I did. Your ball involves people from all over the world. Are there any differences in the way how these people, depending on their nationality, experience this dream? Well, I actually think that the dream, just like the mask, makes us all equal. Everybody wants to live a dream. Everyone will live this dream in a different way, but the joy to share this dream is the same one. So dreams have no borders. Well, Venice is a dream. What makes this city so special for the rest of the world? Its uniqueness and consistency. This is a city that is still consistent. It is a city where you can still breathe in history, splendor, and at the same time, you can live in the present. This is the city of the future, in my opinion. Human relationships are still very important in this city. Do you have many young people working with you? Yes, my team is made of young people. I am the oldest one, but I love to be surrounded by young people because young people are the future. And I believe in the young generation, notwithstanding all the bad things they say about them. It is a generation that most likely has fewer possibilities, fewer opportunities compared to my generation, but there is so much talent. So I'm very optimistic about the future, and I believe in the young people. Wonderful, a shared dream. Thank you for your message. Thank you very much for your work, and thank you very much for your time. Thank you.